Alright, buckle up, true crime fanatics, because we're about to dive headfirst into a story with more twists and turns than a roller coaster. We're talking about the tragic case of Robin Kaye, a Hollywood heavyweight, and her husband, Thomas Deluca. This isn't your usual whodunit mystery. This is a story of a brutal double murder in a luxury neighborhood where people pay a premium for safety, a shocking arrest, and a life cut tragically short. First, let's establish who they really were. Robin Kaye wasn't just some background player. She was the music supervisor for American Idol, the musical mastermind for over a decade. That means she was the one securing the rights to songs, picking the perfect tracks that would become smash hits. She also worked on shows like Lip Sync Battle. Her husband, Thomas Deluca, was no slouch either. He was an acclaimed songwriter who wrote for big names like Kid Rock and Meredith Brooks. They were a true creative powerhouse, still actively creating in their 70s. They had just moved into their $4.5 million Encino villa, a property previously owned by the rapper Juice WRLD. A true Hollywood dream, in a neighborhood that's a haven for the rich and famous, or so they thought. But the dream home would soon become a real-life nightmare, because while they were living the American dream, someone else was waiting in the shadows. Let's get into the gruesome details. On a Monday afternoon, police were called to perform a welfare check on the couple. Worried family and friends hadn't been able to reach them for days. The responding officers had to break down the door, and what greeted them inside was straight out of a horror movie. The couple was found dead in 2 different rooms of the massive house. Both had been killed by a gunshot to the head. This wasn't a quiet passing. It was a brutal, cold-blooded execution. The fact that they were in separate rooms raises questions. Did one of them try to escape? Or did the killer hunt them down in their own home? Based on the scene, your first thought would obviously be a robbery gone wrong, right? But the following details will toss that theory aside like a bad karaoke attempt. And this is where things get truly bizarre. Police confirmed the house was not ransacked. Valuables, art, electronics, everything was in its place. This completely contradicts the logic of typical burglary homicides. Burglars either hastily grab anything they can, or they destroy things in a rage. Here, nothing. It's like a shark swimming onto a beach full of people, but instead of attacking anyone, it just takes a bite out of a surfboard and swims away. It makes no sense. If robbery wasn't the motive, then what was? A personal motive? Or something far more sinister? A killer without a clear motive is terrifying, but what's even more frightening is the knowledge that there were warning signs. Loud and ominous signs. A few days before the bodies were discovered on a Thursday, a neighbor called 911. They saw a figure jump over the couple's fence. The police took the report seriously. They combed the area with a helicopter, and units flooded the streets. But the intruder was never found, and there was no sign of a forced entry. This person was a ghost. They vanished before they could be caught. The question is obvious. Was this a dress rehearsal? A test run to scope out the scene before the deadly performance? A mysterious break-in attempt, followed by a double murder? The timeline here is crucial, but there's a 4-day black hole in the story that complicates everything. The last sign of life from the couple was on Thursday, and their bodies weren't found until Monday. That's 4 full days. For investigators, that's an eternity. Clues go cold, memories fade, and evidence can disappear. What happened in those 96 hours? Did the murder happen immediately after the break-in attempt, or did the killer return later? This 4-day silence is a dark, silent curtain that conceals the exact moment of the murder. The when and the why are huge question marks, but there might be a heartbreakingly simple answer to the how. Investigators now believe the killer didn't even have to try hard. There was no high-tech, Ocean's 11-style break-in. The assumption is that the perpetrator simply climbed the fence, walked around, and found an unlocked door. That's it. You can pay all the money in the world for a villa that looks like a fortress, but the killer just walked in, as if they were asking for a cup of sugar. This tragic detail shows what a false sense of security we sometimes live in, and how a single, tiny oversight can lead to disaster. So, we have a killer who got lucky. But who is this person? Police have a name, and that name comes from closer than anyone would have thought. The suspect is 22-year-old Raymond Badarian, who, get this, is also an Encino resident. not some distant criminal, but someone from the neighborhood. The police theory is that Badarian broke into the house, presumably to steal, and was surprised by Robin and Tom when they came home. The confrontation led to panic and deadly violence. It doesn't seem to be a premeditated assassination, but a tragic, chance encounter where a criminal felt cornered. A 22-year-old in a neighborhood full of millionaires? How does he fit in? And what's the most terrifying part of all this? The lack of connection. As of the current investigation, there is no known connection between the suspect and the victims. This is what makes this case truly bone-chilling. In most crime stories, there's a motive. Money, revenge, love. Here, it seems to be just pure, raw chance. That horrific lottery of being in the wrong place at the wrong time, in your own home. The randomness is more terrifying than any personal motive because it sends a message. This could happen to anyone. And this realization has shocked the entire community, from glittering Hollywood to the quiet, leafy streets of Encino. As soon as the news broke, a flood of tributes began. American Idol released a statement calling Robin a cornerstone of the show. Friends and colleagues spoke of the couple's kindness, talent, and love for life. The residents of Encino, who pay a premium for safety and tranquility, are now living in fear. This crime has shattered the illusion that high fences and expensive alarm systems can protect you from the evil of the outside world. Their legacy lives on, but the agonizing question of what if will remain forever. And now we arrive at the point that casts the entire tragedy in the cruelest, most heart-wrenching light. This is the detail that makes your stomach clench. The couple's death wasn't just a brutal crime. It was the tragic outcome of a race against time they didn't even know they were in. Just imagine the situation. It's Thursday. A stranger climbs over your fence. Police search with a helicopter, but the person vanishes like a ghost. The sanctuary of your beautiful new home is suddenly vulnerable and terrifying. Robin and Tom felt exactly that. They didn't downplay it. Their fear spurred them into immediate action. That very day, they contacted a professional security company. Imagine the phone call. "Hello, we had an attempted break-in. We need cameras, motion sensors, the best system you have." They took the rational, responsible step that any of us would take in their shoes.
American Idol producer, and we gave her all the options accordingly to make sure that she has what she needs to stay protected.
They started the process of turning their home into an impenetrable fortress. And here's the cruel twist. While they were waiting for quotes, making plans, and organizing their future security, the clock was ticking mercilessly against them. The danger they feared so much didn't wait for an installation appointment. It didn't care about contracts or technical specifications. Their killer was faster. Help was literally on the way. But fate, or in this case, a murderer, was quicker. They were just days, maybe only hours, too late to protect themselves. It's the most painful what if. What if the security company could have come the next day? What if that one door had been locked that night? It's like seeing a tsunami approaching, starting to run for the lifeboat, but being caught by the wave just a few feet away. Their death is therefore not just an act of violence, but also a symbol of fate's cruel irony. They died from the very danger they were already actively trying to defend against. This fact makes their story not just tragic, but unbearably human. This case is a stark reminder that tragedy can strike anyone, anywhere. It's a story about a loving couple, a brutal crime, and a grieving community.
I'm mostly in shock because they're just such great people. I mean, they help people, you know. They spend their time and money being kind to others and animals as well.
We will be following the developments in this case closely, so be sure to subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss any updates. What are your thoughts on this case? Let us know in the comments. And as always, stay safe, stay sharp, and stay alert.